What's up, guys? It's Chris.
What's up, guys? It's Chris. You're watching Plumbing Explained, and this is Unclogged, episode 20. So we got called out to this Jack and Jill stoppage here, which is two side-by-side lavatory bathroom sinks, and they're both backed up. So we know that the clog is past the Y, and we're using our Spartan Model 81 with our 5/16 cable, inner core cable, and we've got our drop head attachment on this cable right now. This is our favorite attachment for this type of drain line and this type of unclogging. So these Jack and Jill sinks are always really difficult to get unclogged because it's hard to make that drop in between the two sinks. Well, so what I recommend you do is run your machine in reverse while trying to make that drop. If you're having trouble making it. If you don't have trouble making the drop, you should be fine. You can just run it in forward and it'll drop. I always am able to make that drop in reverse. I go out every time, try and hit it in forward, and miss it almost every single time. Once I throw it in reverse, you go slow, and your machine will find its way down that drop. Another thing I recommend you do is you run water in the other sink while you're trying to unclog whatever sink is closest to the drop. Whatever sink you think is going to be closer to the little drop, try and run from that sink. If you can't determine which sink is closer to the drop, don't worry about it. You can run from either sink. It's just a little bit easier when you're a little bit closer to the drop. So once you've made the drop and you know you're not coming up in the other sink anymore, you want to stop and switch your machine back into forward. This is really one of the only circumstances where you would switch your machine and run it in reverse anyways. And it's very important that you make sure that you're running it in forward after you've made that drop. While you're running water, make sure it's hot water in the other sink. That will help you get through this stoppage, because this stoppage is likely just like soap scum and, whatever, toothpaste, stuff like that. So that hot water will really help loosen and break that stuff up when you're sending your cable down the drain. So if you're a follower of the channel and a follower of the series, I recommend only running hot water as long as you're not cameraing the line after you or before you snake it. Don't run hot water if you're going to send a camera down the line, because it will be steamy and it will mess up the camera. You won't be able to get a good read. So to prevent like a bind up or the cable like tying itself in a knot, you always want to make sure that you've got some pressure being applied back towards the drum, because the drum is naturally trying to push that cable out. So if you hit a stoppage and the cable can't go any further, the drum's going to continue trying to push that cable out, and it will tie itself in a knot outside of the drum, sometimes inside of the drum, but outside of the drum. You want to make sure that you're pushing back towards the drum a little bit, just with a little bit of force with your the hand that you're not using to guide the cable. I use my left hand to feed my right hand the cable, and I use my right hand to guide the cable down the drain line. Now, among many other reasons, this is one reason I absolutely love the Spartan Model 81. I mean, this machine is the best machine you can own for residential drain work. I'm not even kidding. It's without a doubt the best machine for a service plumber. You can have bigger machines. Obviously, you'll need bigger machines occasionally, but the Model 81 with the two drums, the way I run it, you can knock out pretty much any drain in a home, 1.5 to 3 inches, or 1.25 to 3 inches, and even sometimes 4-inch drains. If you're a follower of the channel and a follower of the series, you've seen me unclog 4-inch drains with this machine before. It's just, this thing is like really, really impressive. I've never been so impressed with the drain machine outside of the Spartan Model 81. The versatility of this machine is just, it's uncomparable. As you know, again, if you follow the channel and follow the series, I have had a Model 100 machine. It was stolen from me. That's actually what this Model 81 replaced. But even the Model 100, the Spartan 100, which was previously my favorite machine of all time, it just doesn't compare to the Model 81. There's so many times back in my career, throughout times where I was snaking drains, where if I would have had the Model 81, I would have been in and out. I wouldn't have had trouble. The Spartan 100 is a great machine. The only problem is you only get the most out of it if you run the 1/2-inch cable, the 1/2-inch inner core cable, and that cable is just too big to fit in smaller drain lines. I mean, I guess you could put like a 13/32 drum and then switch the drums whenever you needed it. But even 13/32 I feel like is too big for some drain lines. Like, you wouldn't be able to clear tubs and showers. You'd be able to clear lab sinks and kitchens. And then if you had your 1/2 inch drum, you'd be able to clear main lines. And only some main lines. But I feel like that's just kind of not worth it, in my opinion. If with the 81, you can clear any tub, shower, kitchen, some toilet drain lines. It's just like, it's unstoppable, this machine, and it's constantly surprising me. So this machine is basically, in my opinion, like the most perfect complete machine if you're running the dual drums, one drum with a 25-foot 1/4 inch and the other drum with the 50-foot 5/16 cable. I believe this machine is the most versatile, most complete machine you can buy as a residential service plumber. That means this thing's going to unclog pretty much any kitchen line that you get into, even if it has grease, like a bad grease blockage. This thing's going to unclog. It can even it'll rip out some roots, like smaller roots. It'll do pretty much almost anything the Model 100 will do. It's just that 1/2 inch cable is what makes the Model 100 a really tough machine. Without using the 1/2 inch cable on the Model 100, you might as well use this machine. And if you're using the 1/2 inch cable on the 100, then you can't clear smaller drain lines. You're going to have a tough time getting into 1/2 inch. You're going to have a tough time getting into, you have to go 2 inch and up with the 1/2 inch cable. Otherwise, you're going to have a really tough time. You're going to get into some situations that are just not going to be very favorable. Now, what you could do is you could run 2 drums on your Spartan 100, but the problem with that is you're still going to be left out on the tubs and shower drains. You won't be able to clear a tub or a shower drain even with a 13/32 cable. That cable won't jump a inch and a half P-trap. It won't do it. You can jump 2 inch P-traps with the 13/32 cable, but not a inch and a half P-trap. You need a 1/4 inch cable to do that. I love the fact that the Model 100 comes with like a little dolly system, and it comes with a little cart style system, and the drum is adjustable. You can angle the drum different angles. That was always really awesome for me. I loved that about that machine. And the Model 81 is also sweet because you can set it inside a tub or a shower, or you can lay it on its back like I am here in some cases. Laying it on its back makes it really easy to run the cable out. So as you can see, I'm easily feeding the cable down the drain here. It's really easy to pull out when I have it on its back there like that. We're engaging the clog now as it wants to go down the drain instead of pouring out into my bucket. Any second, boom, there it goes. Clog gone. Model 81 wins another one. After I clear the clog, I always like to run the cable out until I feel it drop into the bigger line, like the main line or just wherever the bigger drop is. I like feeling my cable drop into that, and that's when I know that it's okay to pull back. So some of the upsides to the Model 81 are, it's very quiet, it's very light, you can put it in a bunch of different tight areas, it's very versatile, and it's just all around a great, awesome machine. The only things that are kind of like a downside to it would be you can't put a bigger cable in it, like a 1/2 inch or a 13/32 cable. And you can only put a 50-foot 5/16 cable in this. You couldn't get a 75-foot cable in there. If you could get 75 foot, that would be really awesome. I'd love to be able to put 75 feet in this, even though it would make it a little bit heavier. When the 5/16 drum is on this thing, it's a little bit heavier, but it's definitely not unmanageable, not by any means. Another really cool thing about the Model 81 is as soon as you let off the gas on this thing, as soon as you let off the power switch, the bulb, it stops spinning. It doesn't keep spinning. It doesn't have a wind down like the 100 does. So if you're going to bind up, if you know you're getting bound up and you let off, it stops. It doesn't keep twisting and slowly bind itself up. So it's really just, the machine is my favorite machine by far. I think Spartan just hit it out of the park with this design and this machine here. I do love the Model 100. I love the cart style design, but when I go back to Spartan to buy my next machine, it won't be a 100 machine. It'll be a 300, and we'll buy a 100 drum with a 1/2 inch or a 13/32 cable on it, so that it can get into the 2-inch to 4-inch drain lines in case, this thing fails me. I built a mock Spartan 100 out of Harbor Freight drain machine. I call it the Redneck 75, and I'll be doing a review on that next. It carries a Spartan 1/2-inch intercore cable, and it is basically the Spartan 100 just done redneck style. So even though Spartan cables are treated with zinc and they're rust resistant, it's really good practice to make sure that you wipe them down as you're pulling them back into your drum. It keeps the gunk from building up in the drum. It keeps whatever, the Drano or whatever your customer was using out of the drum. It stops the drum from rotting and rusting from the inside quicker. And I mean, you're looking at my machine here going, what are you telling me about rust, dude? There's rust all over the outside of that machine. I bought this machine used from another plumber in Los Angeles. He sold it to me really cheap, so I didn't care at all about the rust. And it was replacing my Model 100. And I had gone down there to buy another 100, but I could tell that this guy had clearly stolen the machine, and I didn't want anything to do with it. I even considered thinking maybe it was my machine that had been stolen because it had some of the same bends in the frame and stuff like that. It was really bizarre. While I was down there, it wasn't a complete waste. I was able to pick this machine up. Look at the rigidity of these cables, guys. That cable's standing straight up. I mean, they're no joke. These machines are wonderful, and the cables are awesome too. You know who else is awesome? You are, for watching this video and for being a subscriber. Make sure you have your notifications on. We're dropping a new video every day this month. Leave a like, leave a comment down below if you've got any plumbing questions or anything to add, anything you'd like me to make a video on. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future. And until the next one, guys, I really appreciate you. I hope you guys get something out of these videos. I hope the knowledge that I'm sharing is able to help somebody along their way. And yeah, take care, guys.
The brown won't go down. Time to deploy Uncle Elroy. He's got the longest snake around. Need to clear your pipes without any gripes. Old Uncle Elroy's the guy for the job. He's getting shit done without being a slob. So give the man a like and go and hit subscribe. It's gonna save you money, save you time. He'll teach you how to plumb and won't charge a dime.